Hi, I'm Bethany and welcome to Saturday Knit Live, where my hair does whatever it wants to do. Welcome back if you have been with us before, and if you're not and you're new, welcome. It is nearing the end of December and the end of the year, actually. So today will be our monthly wrap-up video and our last video of the year. If you have not been with us before, I encourage you to go look at our past videos. It'll kind of give you a background on the channel and on kind of what we talk about here. But in our wrap-up videos, since this is the first, I'll kind of go down the list of things that we'll talk about in today's video. I just got my bangs cut, so my face is a little itchy. Anyway, we're gonna go through WIPs or works in progress, FOs, finished objects. We're gonna go through acquisitions or additions to my stash or things that I have been gifted or acquired over the past month. And then any questions from comments or texts or emails or Instagram questions, and then any announcements and things that will be coming up soon. So we're gonna jump right in and we're gonna start with finish up our works in progress. We're gonna start with works in progress. You can't see, actually, let me show you. It looks crazy next to me. All the stuff kind of piled up, but I'm gonna go through everything and show you what I've got here. My first work in progress is this pair of mittens that I am knitting for my son. I already knit him one pair, and I'll show you what that looks like when I go over my finished objects. But I'm using this free pattern from Tin Can Knit. It's called the World's Simplest Mittens. And this is free on their website and through Ravelry. I'll make sure I link it down below. But I am currently knitting each mitten, and I'm a little tangled here, on its perspective set of needles. And what I do is I cast on and I knit one, and then I cast on and I knit the other, and I kind of knit each section and then I move to the second needle. I'll explain a little bit more about it in the questions, because one of our questions today actually has to do with those mittens. I don't have a lot of works in progress because I actually have a lot of finished objects. So my second work in progress is it is the West Knits Hybrid Knit Along. I'm doing the Glittering Snowscape shawl, and I'm doing it in purples. This is a 5 skein gradient shawl, very large. Most of his shawls are very large. And to give you kind of an idea, this is the first, so this is a full skein of fingering weight yarn or sock weight yarn, and this is what is left of the first color. So I have 5 colors I'm working with. So you definitely are probably going to need all 5, and I need this later on in the pattern for the border as well. So you're going to use most of all 5 colors. Anyway, here's how far I've gotten. This is kind of a sampler of most of his Hybrid Knit patterns are kind of like samplers. So you go in here and there's one section here, and then you're gonna have this kind of breakup and this ribbing. I think he calls it ridges. These kind of section out each one. So I moved on to my second color, and yeah, there's my second color, and my third, 4th, and 5th. So I'm chugging along. The cast on date for this was December 26th. Now obviously you can knit this whenever. That just happens to be when like the majority of people cast on that day. That's kind of when the hyper knitting event, I guess, happened. So yeah, I am very much enjoying this pattern. It is still available on Ravelry. I'll link that down below. And there's also, if you aren't the kind of person who likes to stash dive, or you don't have a lot of stash, or you don't knit with this weight of yarn, and you don't feel like going shopping yourself, there are kits available on his website that I will also link down below. So that's really it for WIPs. Like I said, I have been clearing my needles. So let's move into FOs. So the first finished object, this is the Tin Can Knits, the World Easiest Mittens. This was the first pair. I gave these to my son for Christmas. He loves them. We actually have the same hand size, so it kind of worked out that I could use my hand as the template. And I had ordered a few months ago some new tags, and these ones happen to be yellow and kind of match. I don't remember the name of this yarn. Oh wait, yes I do, because I've been telling myself I need to hold on to the labels. Hang on, this was London House Yarns in the color Butterbeer. And then I just used an extra mini, and you almost can't tell, it's pretty seamless. For the thumb and the ribbing, I used a orange mini that I had from a sock yarn duo from Unplanned Peacock Studio. It was a blue and an orange, and the orange was perfect for this. And I'm using the same orange for the green and orange socks. I'm using, this was, I think, this is a commercial yarn. I don't remember the dyer. This, I just don't off the top of my head. I have long ago lost the label for that. But my son requested 2 pairs of mittens. So he got one for Christmas. The other one, I'll just give it to him when I finish them. And he'll probably get a hat for his birthday in October. But anyway, that's that item. I have been cranking out the hats. One of them I already gave away to a friend as a Christmas gift, so I don't have that hat here. But I do have 2 hats for charity and 1 for a gift. So Amber, if you're watching, surprise, this is your hat. A friend of mine, Amber, previously made a lot of heat screen printed t-shirts. She has since closed her shop, but her birthday is coming up in January, just like mine. So I told her I would send her a hat. Well, I told her I'd send her something, and she's gonna send me something. So this is reversible. She said she's into orange right now. So this will be going off to her. I also finished this one. This one is also reversible. I ran out of yarn at the end and kind of color matched one of the greens. It matches my nails. This will be going to Knit the Rainbow, and currently I have a basket of items that will be going to Knit the Rainbow. This one I just finished last night. I finished this one last night and it still needs blocked. So this is what these hats look like when they're separated. This is called the Musselburgh hat by Isolde Teague, and I will link the pattern down below. It is one of my favorite hat patterns, and I make a lot of these to gift for my family, for charity, but it is a double thick hat, and the pattern gives you an easy way to substitute the yarn depending on what gauge you get. So this again, this will be another reversible hat. This one's going to Knit the Rainbow once I finish blocking it. So that's already 3 projects finished this month. I knitted, the next thing I did was I knitted a cowl, which still needs blocked, But if you watched my handed knitted closet video, you might recognize this white speckled yarn. This is the same color and same yarn as my hat with the funky pom-pom. So I have just enough left over with the solids that I used to make a pair of mittens. So I will have a 3-piece set, a hat, a cowl, and some mittens for myself. So this still needs blocked. The pattern that I used for this was the 24-day cowl, and I will link that down below. I knitted this not in DK weight, but in fingering, and I used the same stitch count. I just went up a needle size for the cast on and up a needle size for the bind off. And I did not do the slip stitch for the second color, for color B or the contrast color. I did do that, however, on my Advent cowl. So this is my Advent cowl. I did 24 days. This is the same pattern as this one. The 24-day cowl, like I said, I'll link it in the comments, but it has a slip stitch, an offset slip stitch pattern. And I did the 24 stripes. I did, however, because I wanted a more prominent color, I did 3 stripes instead of 2 of each of the contrast color. So this is actually, has already gotten a new home claimed, so I just need to ship this off. It has already been blocked. It is ready to go. And the last item that I finished this month is large. And I will insert a section of video here where I show it kind of on the dress form so you can see how big it is. But this is the Botanic Shawl by Stephen West. And it is a super easy knit. If you're looking to dive into shawl knitting and use more than one color for a nice dramatic effect, but you want something very easy, but something fun, this is what I would suggest this. You need 4 skeins of fingering weight in 2 different colors. It's really great if you could get something that's going to color transition, not stripe, but change color gradually as you knit through it for your second color, or something maybe with speckles or that's variegated. This is going to break that up really nicely. Your main color, though, you really want a solid color for your main color. And I had plenty left over. I shouldn't say plenty. I had some left over. Let's see. I don't know where it is. Yeah, I don't remember where I put it, but I do have some left over. I've got lots of, this is how much I had left over from the second color. So Zauber ball usually comes about this big. So I probably have enough for a pair of mittens or half of a muscle burrow hat. And I have the same amount left over about for the main color. But anyway, let me show you what this looks like. It is the coolest thing. So it starts here at the point, and your main color is stockinette stitch. So it's just plain knit. And then your contrast color is garter stitch. And then you put these fun slip stitch rows in that go all the way up. And then the border is just stripes. It's kind of sheer, but this is so fun and bouncy. Like this is 3 full skeins of fingering weight yarn, and it's really nice and lightweight, but it's very warm. This didn't take me very long to knit at all because it's super duper intuitive. You cast on with only a couple stitches. I want to say like 3 or 4, 3 stitches, and then you increase as you go up. And it's got Stephen West's signature I-cord bind off and I-cord edging. It's the Botanic shawl. It's a great shawl. I'm not usually a repeat knitter other than with like hats and mittens because those are pretty fast and I can knit them on the go. But this might need a second a second knit because I have a whole basket here of variegated and color progressing yarns that need projects. So this is my last finished object for the month of December and for the year 2023, because unless I really stop knitting my snowscape shawl and I really kind of trug along on these mittens, I can get the mittens done in about a day. But I don't see that happening because I really want to work on the shawl. I'd like to get the shawl done by New Year's Day night. By that night, by January 1st evening, that'd be great because I'd like to start on a birthday cast on. Anyway, the next thing I would like to talk about is this basket right here next to me, which is full of our acquisitions. And we're going to call this segment Introducing. These are all the things that have made their way into my house this month. Anything from a gift, something that I bought myself, and so on. None of this is sponsored. I'm not sponsored by anyone. I'm not big enough for that, which is fine. So yeah, let's go through this. Some of these are Christmas presents, and whatever is Christmas gifts or holiday gifts or early birthday gifts, I will let you know. The first couple things I want to show you though are these. So my mom and my sister are really big into painting pottery. Locally, we have a place that they go to. They have items shipped in or pre-fired, precast, however it works, and then you paint them and then they fire them and glaze them there for you. Anyway, they had this set, a mug and a bowl set, that I really, really wanted. And I'm really not into painting pottery. I've gone in the past and I went recently to paint a Christmas tree. But it's not really my medium. Yarn is my medium. Anyway, so I saw these. I said, you know what? If I come back and they're there, maybe I'll paint that. This is perfect for a skein of sock yarn when I'm knitting, or a couple minis. It's not food safe, which I'm fine with. But I love it. It's so cute. It's this pretty pink color, and she used some speckle glaze on the handle. And then this was for my sister for my birthday. And then my mom got me this cute little Hello Kitty. I love gingerbread people. My mom made this one, which is a little bit lighter pink, and it has the speckles on the inside. This is a perfect yarn bowl. I don't like the ones with the cutouts because they tend to get caught on things, because I'm very clumsy. They'll get caught on my sweater or my bag handle or whatever. So this is perfect. My my little balls of minis can roll around in here, no problem, or I can put my scrap pieces in here. Anyway, those were the first two things that I got. Not in order, but the first two things I wanted to show you. I ordered this yarn. If you aren't familiar, one of my favorite yarns, commercially dyed solids, is Heritage by Cascade Yarn. These are Heritage by Cascade Yarn. It comes in so many different colors, and my local yarn shop stocks them, but they only had one skein of this pretty butter yellow. And so I asked the owner to order me some, and she ordered me a 5-pack, and it finally came in. So I picked that up this month. I'm not sure what this is destined to be yet. Probably a sweater of some sort, just not sure which one. But the color needed to come home with me. So it did. I did a little bit of shopping a couple days before Christmas. I did a little road trip. I went to visit my sister, and then I stopped at Around the Table Yarns in one of the suburbs of Cleveland, and I wanted to pick up these double pointed needles because, as I showed you in my blanket video, I knit my scrappy blanket with these needles, and the two other pairs that I had came off their cable. And I thought, you know what, I really don't need a circular to just knit this little section, I can just get some double points. So this is the same size as the circular. I've been looking everywhere for these, and I didn't want to have to buy them online if I could buy them at a small business. So it was about half an hour away from where I was with my sister, and I decided to pop over there and buy them. And while I was there, they had this on the clearance rack. So it came home with me. This is Earth Yarns Unique Fingering. I don't know if this is something that, I'm not familiar with this brand. I should say I'm familiar with Earth, but I'm not familiar with their fingering weight. My local yarn store carries some of their stuff, but I don't think that they carry this. So this will probably end up being either a hat or mittens. I'm not sure if I'll keep them or donate them. It really just depends on how I feel about it when they're finished. Another Christmas gift I got from my mom were these Destination Yarn skeins. We went together to another local yarn shop called Black Locust Fibers. Oh, Black Locust Farm, sorry. And I'll link them down below. When Destination Yarn had their trunk sale there. And I went to the trunk sale to pick up a skein of their Color Run yarn. If you're not familiar with their Color Run yarn, it's kind of like a kitchen sink yarn. It's every color, just speckled in there. Every skein turns out differently, but I have been slowly collecting skeins of it to make a fun, crazy, like, cardigan. Anyway, I think I'm up to 3 or 4 skeins, and they come back to the area in May for a fiber show, and I will have to check and see if they have more then. Anyway, while they were there, I found these 2 skeins, and I felt like they went together. This has some speckles that kind of match this. I'm not sure what they want to be yet. This is called Cassette, and this is called Shining Sea. Anyway, while I was there, I tried to leave these on the table, but I kept coming back to them, and my mom said, you know what? I'll buy them for you. You just have to wait till Christmas to get them. And I said, okay, that's fine. I'll wait till Christmas. This was back in November, so I knew I wasn't going to be waiting that long. These next couple things I bought for myself, and I gotta pull out my whip bag here. So, Slip Stitch Studio is an online yarn accessory and fabric shop, and they are closing, unfortunately. I will link them down below because everything on their website is 40% off right now until it runs out. But they had these skein sweaters on sale. This one's a cute little mummy. And I'm using 2 of them right now. And I have been looking everywhere in person for them and couldn't find them in person. And I love them because I have one here that I purchased from a fiber show, and I can't remember who I purchased it from, but I have been using the living daylights out of, and I need more for other projects. I've got their little Slip Stitch Studio with their little lamb. But anyway, I will link them down below. If you see anything there, I would recommend, if you can get it, because it's not going to be there for long at all. Like I said, they are closing. It's very sad to see small businesses closing, but it happens. And it's great when I'm able to support them a little bit by purchasing a few things. I also bought for myself, this is what came when I ordered the Zauberball. Simply Sock yarn. They just threw this in there. They just threw this in the box as a freebie when I ordered this skein right here. So that was exciting. I haven't used it yet because if I use it, I'll forget to show you guys what it looked like. But they're great with their freebies. So now I've showed you, I can put this in my bag to actually use it. These next few things are from my mother-in-law for Christmas and probably my birthday because she was super duper generous and I love her. I love you, Pat. She got me these awesome scissors. She knows that I poke holes in things, so these came with a sheath. And then this is a measuring tape. Isn't that cool? This is from the Loopy U. I don't know if they carry these anymore. I'm not sure when she purchased this, but I'm super excited about this. She also got me the cable needles that I asked for, Knitter's Pride. I like the wooden cable needles because I can also use them as stitch fixers. So those are going right into my tool bag. I love myself a notepad, and this one is so cheeky. It says stuff to do today. Wake up, knit, and go to bed. So that's definitely going on my desk, either here or at work, because I am always reaching for a notepad to jot things down, either for work or for the podcast here. So I'm excited about that. And then the two things that she got me that I was so excited about were these two books. I have never tried color work before, but 2024 is going to be my year to try new things. So Knitivation and Alternate, they are sister books by the same author, Andrea Rangel, and I always love her patterns, but I get really intimidated because, again, I've never worked with color work and I'm not sure about my tension. I'm a continental only knitter and I just don't know. So this is kind of my way of dipping my toe into color work by trying out little samples. There are so many patterns in these books and I cannot wait to try them out. So this was an amazing addition to my knitting library. Again, so excited about these. The rest of what is in here is yarn. So I'm going to try to go through this really quickly. These skeins I'm about to show you. This looks familiar. This is where the yellow started. Heritage. This is all Cascade Heritage fingering weight yarn that I purchased at my local yarn store during their small business Saturday / Black Friday sale. Again, I know it wasn't in December, but I've been waiting to show you guys so that I can put them on the shelves. And these are all really random colors. I just walked up to the shelf, saw them, and said, you know what? Sure. And I kind of like them together. I feel like this would be such a fun striped cardigan. And now that I'm looking at it, I'm thinking, yeah, I think they need to stay together. I love them together. Oh, that's going to be fun. Okay, I'm excited. These are all going to go into one project. Next, I purchased some things from Knit Picks. And I had to stock up on these because I want to make myself another muscle ball for myself. I have one that I showed in my hand knitted closet tour and it was yellow and pink, but now that I have purple hair, I get scared to wear the yellow after I freshly dyed my hair every couple months. And so I kind of want to make a purple and pink one so that I can wear the purple with the pink and not worry about staining the yellow. And the yellow can wait about a week or so after my hair is kind of settled down. So these are, for me, this is Knit Picks Stroll fingering weight yarn. This is amazing sock yarn. That's actually what the inside of this one is made of. It is this beautiful orange color. It is a thin fingering, so you are going to get a smaller gauge out of this. The last thing I got was Felicini, I think is how you say it. Felicini? Anyway, if you're familiar with Felici, oop, that came right out of the... Let's try one of these. All right, Felici is Knit Picks yarn that is self-striping. It is a same content as the Stroll, and so they pair well together. Obviously not these colors, but they pair well together, and so that's what I did with this. This is Felici on the outside, and the other side is the Stroll. And Knit Picks came out with Felicini, which Felici has these wide color stripes, but Felicini has little thin ones. And so I kind of went nuts and bought all of them. So there are 8 colors. These were the 2 I was most excited about. This is purple and blue and pink and yellow and gray, and then this is kind of a dusty pink and purple with the blues and grays and kind of a raspberry color. Anyway, these are probably going to be mittens for Knit the Rainbow. I kind of just wanted to try the yarn out, and I know in the past when Knit Picks releases their Felici line every year, which they didn't this year, so it must have been the Felicini that they were going to release. Anyway, anytime they release them, they go fast and they don't come back again. They come back as new colors the next year. So I always try to get them because they're never coming back, and I always, excuse me, I always need a hat project or a mitten project on the go. But while I was there, they had a book sale. Again, this was back in, I want to say, beginning of November. But I picked up this Cute and Cozy Stash Buster book. I want to say I paid $8.99 for it at the time when it was on sale. But it's got, I want to say 16 projects in there, and some of them feature the Felicini yarn. So that's exciting. Another great addition to my knitting library, which I keep my knitting library relatively small. I don't buy books for my knitting library unless I know that I will use more than half of the patterns in the book. Or if it's on sale and I know I'm just getting it for one specific pattern, and I'll knit it and then I'll re-gift it to someone else or pass it on to someone else, or take it to a swap with my Fiber Guild. But anyway, that is all the things knitting and crochet related that have entered my home and will be put away this month and in November as well. So the next section we're doing is questions, and we're going to call this From the Audience. So let me pull out my tablet here because I got these questions or comments on multiple different places. So the first one I have is actually a comment on episode 4, which was the hand knitted closet tour, where I showed all of the things that I've knitted for myself and kept kind of in my wardrobe or accessories bins over the years. And this is from @ColorMoody. She says, or they say, thank you, a very enjoyable watch. I love your shawls. It is nice to see some color for a change. Well, Color Moody, if you stay around, you're gonna see lots of color here because we don't have a lot of boring knits in this house. And when we do, usually it's for family who are not as crazy as me about color, or it's a commission, which I don't very often take commissions because for me, sometimes it takes the fun out of the knitting. What else have we gotten here? We have another one from my mother-in-law, Pat. She asked this a few weeks ago, and I told her that I would talk about it on the video. She says, I enjoyed episode 4 very much. You talk about certain yarns as your favorite. How does this come about? I love cotton and have used a certain brand for a while now, but I see many new ones. Do you research your new yarns or just jump in and try? So as demonstrated here with the purchase of the earth yarn from Around the Table, I kind of just dive in. Most of what I use, as you can see here, And if you check out my first episode of organizing my stash into potential projects, I tend to stick to mainly fingering weight yarn with a little bit of DK thrown in the mix. I rarely ever deviate from that because I can do so much with fingering weight. I double it up and I have DK, quadruple it up and I have worsted. I can weave with it, I can knit with it, I can crochet with it. Socks, mittens, hats, sweaters, you name it, I can make it with this yarn. Typically, I will try to knit with merino wool. I like how merino feels. It's nice and soft on my skin. I have sensory issues, so if I feel itchy or bound up or anything, I don't tend to wear the item. It's gone. I give it away or send it to someone else. So merino yarn for me is great. I don't mind if it's non-superwash versus superwash. I don't have a preference in that way. I hand wash all of my hand knitted items or crocheted items, but I do like a little nylon in my hand knits, unless it's going to be a shawl. So if it's a garment or a hat or mittens, I really like to have a little bit of nylon. That stretch is really nice. And I feel like it makes it a bit more durable by adding that nylon or even polyamide, which is a man-made fiber, into it. I don't tend to use cotton just for myself because cotton has too much of a memory, in my opinion. When you go to block cotton, it is what it is. It's not going to stretch much. It's not going to loosen much. And so unless I'm knitting an accessory that I think someone would rather have in cotton, I don't tend to use cotton. I have it, but I don't really use much of it. And most of it is probably going to be destashed. I have certain content allergies. I can't use mohair. So instead of using mohair, I will use suri because I don't have a problem with alpaca. So I'll use melted suri in replacement of mohair. But when it comes to yarns, I will jump in because if I'm ordering online from a small business who doesn't have a storefront or brick and mortar place that they sell their yarn, it's hard for me to determine whether I'll like it. So usually if it's a club or something like that, I will order the first one, see how I like it. And if I like it, whether that's just feeling it, liking it, or whether that's knitting with it, if I don't like it, I'll sell it or I'll regift it or however it will make it to itself to a new home. So I don't mind diving into new things. As you can see, I bought all of this Filicini without even knowing if I was going to like it. I don't have a problem knitting for others for charity because there's no timeline on that. There's no pressure with get it in, get it done, get it submitted type of thing. And so I feel like I pump out more that way without that pressure of a deadline. And I can just say, okay, this is my to-go knitting, this is my meeting knitting, this is my gym knitting, and not have to worry about when I needed to get it done. And so if I get a yarn that I'm not in love with for myself, I'll knit it for charity or I'll knit it for a gift. So no, I don't have a problem with new yarns. And the way that I find new yarns is honestly through social media. Most of the people that I knit with, either at my guild or at the small businesses that I go to for knitting, they don't use a lot of hand-dyed yarns. They mainly use commercial or something that's undyed that they can dye themselves. So I tend to stalk the social medias of my favorite dyers, and then they kind of direct me to other new dyers, or my favorite pattern makers will direct me to new dyers. And that's kind of how I found some of my favorite yarns or my favorite dyeing techniques or my favorite colors that I'll kind of go back to and check in on certain times a year when they have sales or things like that. So yeah, thank you for asking that question. My last question for today is from Raymond. Raymond asked, I had posted a picture of my mittens in progress on my social media, and he saw it and said, oh my goodness. So he says, so you work 2 at a time? Please tell me these will not end up as idiot mittens. You know, the ones that have the string that go around your neck so you don't lose them. And he says, Merry Christmas. Raymond is a great relative of mine and super cheeky guy. And so we kind of had a really long conversation about this, but I wanted to address it on the channel and kind of explain why I have mittens on 2 different needles. So the way that I knit mittens is I use the larger needle for just the cast on in the first row. So these particular mittens I am knitting, I'm so tangled up here. So I used one size larger to do the cast on and the first row. And then I switched the needles to the smaller ones and I knit the whole ribbing section. Then I switch to the larger ones again to knit the hand. Where's the mittens? Here we go. To knit the hand. And then I put these stitches right here before the thumb on waste yarn. I knit the rest of the hand and the decreases in the smallest needle. So the only time I'm using the big needle is for this cast on right here. And the rest of the hand is knitted in the bigger needle. The thumb, specifically this thumb, is knitted with a different yarn that had a bigger gauge. So I knitted this thumb in the smaller needle. But I think his point was, why am I not knitting them one at a time? I'm not knitting them one at a time because throughout the day, I change my tension depending on how tired I am, how hungry I am, how stressed I am, how quickly I'm trying to get things done, or how much is on my mind. And so if I knit, and these are pretty identical other than the striping, if I knit the ribbing on one and the ribbing on the other, they're the same tension. And then if I knit the palm on one and the palm on the other, same tension, and so on and so on. So I will knit the ribbing, and then I'll knit the second ribbing. Then I'll knit the palm and put the thumbs on waste yarn, and I'll knit the palm and put the thumbs on waste yarn. Then I'll go back and do the rest of the hand and the bind off, and the rest of the hand and the bind off, and then I will go back on the same time and knit each of the thumbs, one right after the other. So I have the same size mittens. It gets a little fiddly because I have, you know, this mess. But in the end, I end up with dropping things, but I end up with identical mittens in size and gauge. And in the past, I didn't do this. I just knit one mitten and then I knit the other, and they were drastically different gauges, even though they're the same yarn and the same needle. So I have found that I can't knit 2 at a time on the same needle, but I can knit 2 at a time, section by section. So thank you, Raymond, for asking that question. I knit socks the same way. I'm actually going to show you this sock that I knitted that before I rip it out, because I'm going to be ripping this out, making it into mittens, because I don't love the socks. I knit socks the same way. I'll do the toes on one, the toes on the other, all the way to the foot, stop, do the other foot, and so on. And then the ribbing, or for this example, this is a folded cuff. But yeah, knitting 2 things that are supposed to be sisters, not twins, at the same time does help, I find, keep the tension. And the stitch count the same, because I can mark how many stitches and do the exact same thing on the other one, and not forget that, oh, after 20 stitches I did a 1 stitch increase, a little extra gusset there to give a little extra room around the knuckles. So yeah, there's that question. All right. For the announcements, we're going to call this Coming Soon. And for this, I kind of wanted to talk about what next month and next year might hold. So some of the things that I would like to get into, sorry as I move through all of my things, is I want to knit more items to send off to Knit the Rainbow. If you're not familiar with Knit the Rainbow, I spoke about them in my previous video a little bit. Knit the Rainbow is a charity out of New York City who, excuse me, my throat is really dry. They provide hand-knitted items from the community that have been donated to LGBTQ youth to help them with the harsh winter weather. They have several chapters in other states, and they also take cash or check donations. I love that this charity connects the handmade items directly to the kids. They just had on their social media, they shared that they had up a table that was just covered in organized chaos of hand-knitted items, mittens, cowls, scarves, hats, you know, you name it, it was there. And I'm sure it was a great blessing to these kids. And if that means that I can knit more, I am happy to donate these items to them. So I would like to kind of challenge myself to this. And if you'd like to join in, whether it's a community bank, a clothing bank, or a local shelter, or if you knit for, you know, Warm Hands Around America or the Linus Project, or Knitted Knockers, whatever it may be that you are knitting for, you know, leaving hats and gloves and mittens around your city with a "This is not lost, please take it" tag. So for this year, I'm challenging myself, and if you'd like to join in, please do, for 24 in 24. That's 24 hand-knitted items for the year 2024. So I'm going to try to knit, not including these 3 items. In the year 2024, I'm going to try to knit 24 hand-knitted items for Knit the Rainbow. That means, and I hope to knit them sooner than Christmas or Thanksgiving so that I can package them up and send them there. And if I reach the 24 goal early, I'll package them up, send them, and start over. So yeah, join me if you can. This would be an awesome thing to do. I feel like any chance I get to knit is a great chance, and I don't always have to knit for me. And these cubbies, this is already 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 projects ready to go for Knit the Rainbow. Just need to knit them up. So yeah, and now that I found my favorite cowl and mitten pattern and my favorite hat pattern, I am raring to go. I already have a new skein of yarn pulled out and the needles ready for me to cast on a new hat. And once I'm finished with my son's second pair of mittens, I will be casting on a new pair of mittens for Knit the Rainbow. So yeah, those are the only announcements that I have currently. The only other thing that I'd like to do for 2024 is I would like to get through a lot more of my projects. I'd like to get things off the needles and just get things worked. And I don't mind starting things, but I really would like to finish things. So I have 2 whips going right now, and I have plenty of projects up in the top of my shelves with patterns ready to go that I just need to get in the mood to knit. So I'm excited for the new things that this year is offering. Next month is my birthday, so that's exciting too. I plan to knit lots of things on my birthday, and I hope you're excited for this new year. New year, fresh start, new knits. Thank you for joining me today. I had a great time. Leave me a comment below or check out my Instagram and message me there. I'm always happy to talk to people or answer questions. I love hearing from you. If you have something that you want me to show or talk about, please let me know. Our next video is going to be towards the middle of January, and it is our what's that one? Our studio sessions. And our studio sessions are just a kind of sit and craft time. I'll chat about things that I've read or watched or done, things happening in the fiber community, any kind of announcements. And then we have a time at the end of that video where I kind of just put on some music and knit and we just kind of vibe. So check us out for that video too, and I'll link the first couple videos of this channel down below, so if you want to get started with those, you're welcome to. I hope to see you at the next one. Bye!